If you're a person that takes a glass box and you fill it with water and then you put fish in it, at some point you are going to end up with a fish that dies, and you're going to be saying to yourself, what happened? Well, the list of reasons why fish die is very long, but we've put together what we believe are the 10 most common causes of fish death. We put out a new episode like this every single week, so if you like this kind of content and you want to see more, click that subscribe button, ring the bell, do all of that so that you're notified when we put out next week's episode. With all that said, here are the 10 most common reasons why fish die. You've heard it a million times, but you can't have a list of the top reasons why fish die and it not have overfeeding on it. Overfeeding happens for a lot of reasons. One of them could be that the fish keeper is a child and they don't know any better and they just throw way too much food in there. Or maybe you're an adult that feels guilty every time you walk by the tank and the fish are begging, so you throw them some food because they're starving. Overfeeding leads to uneaten food sitting around the tank contaminating the water, as well as excess waste, which leads to all kinds of water quality issues. Give your fish an amount of food that they can consume within the first 30 seconds, and don't be a sucker and fall for the "I'm starving" act that they're going to give you every single time you walk by the tank.
Sometimes it's easy to not pay attention to what you have on your hands when you start doing tank maintenance. Maybe you just recently put some really nice lotion on your hands because they felt dry, or you could have just got done going to the bathroom and you washed your hands with soap and you didn't rinse good enough. Or you could have come in from working on your car and you still had a little bit of leftover oil on your hand. You just didn't know, right? Our hands are nasty and you gotta be careful that you're not contaminating your fish.
It's an unfortunate part of the hobby, but it happens. Fish kill other fish. Sometimes it'll happen right away when you introduce a new fish into an aquarium, or it might happen after they've been together for a while and one of the fish decides it's time to figure out who the alpha is. The fact of the matter is, aggression is a thing in this hobby, and it's up to you to do your research and make sure that the fish that you're buying are compatible with the fish that you already have. If you're unable to do your research right there on the spot, talk to the employee at the fish store. Ask them if this new fish that you're buying is going to be okay with the fish that you already have. Get that out of the way before they bag up the fish to send it home with you. Believe me, it is no fun to bring a fish home, put it in the tank, and watch it instantly get eaten by the other fish. Plus, it's just mean.
I get it, you're busy. We all are, and we all get behind on tank maintenance at times. Life gets in the way. Things happen. I totally get it. But just think of it like this. You've got uneaten food, you've got waste piling up, you've got algae growing all over the place, your water's starting to look cloudy, brown, stinks, and your fish are very unhappy. Once it gets to that point, your fish will not last long. Okay, if that didn't get through to you, then think about it like this. Your fish is swimming around in its own toilet bowl. Nasty. Ew.
Yeah, I know, if a piece of equipment fails, it's not always the fish keeper that is to blame, but it is if something isn't done about it right away. We always preach on this channel that it's a good idea to have a backup plan. This way, if something breaks, you can react right away and have the least amount of impact on the fish. You certainly can't have a plan for every possible scenario, but it's a good idea to at least know what you would do. Understand how your filter works. Sometimes if a filter breaks, it's only a little impeller that you have to swap out. It'll cost you like $5–10 and it's super easy. You'd much rather do that than replace an entire filter. If you're extreme like me, maybe you could have a couple extra impellers laying around. You never know when you might need them. Also, another part of the backup plan would be to have a spare filter sitting around, something like a sponge filter, so that if your filter does break, you can put this new filter in there and have that running while you take care of your main filter. And it's a good idea to have a spare heater. When a heater malfunctions, you cannot fix it. You just have to replace it. I know it's a lot. I'm trying to help you here.
Buying new fish is the whole reason why we're in this hobby. It's one of the best parts about being a fish keeper. I mean, think about it. You go to the fish store, you come home with a new fish. It's like being a kid and coming downstairs on Christmas morning. But this can also be a time where you ruin everything that you've worked so hard for. Unfortunately, fish go through so much from the time they leave the fish farm until they get to your tank. They've had to go through so many different changes, and they're not always in the best quality water. All of this stress and poor water quality can open up all kinds of diseases for fish. You have no idea when you go to the fish store and you see a fish swimming around and it looks perfectly healthy, that it could actually have a disease. And then you go home and you stick it in your tank without quarantining, and you get all of your other fish sick. An easy way to prevent this would be to take your new fish home, put it in a quarantine tank, keep it in there for several weeks. Some people do it for months. And keep an eye on this fish to make sure it's disease-free and you have no problems whatsoever before you put this fish in with all of your precious fish that you've had for a long time. Some people even medicate their quarantine tank just to be sure.
In a perfect world, you could go to the fish store and you could pick out any fish that you see and bring it home and put it with the fish that you already have. But unfortunately, it's not a perfect world. I'm sorry. Some fish just won't go well with others, and there's several reasons why that is. It could be that they require different water parameters, or one fish grows to be 14 inches while the other one only maxes out at about 2 inches. We know how that ends. Or it could be that the fish that you already have are all very peaceful and social fish, and the fish that you want is a red devil or a bumblebee cichlid. Again, we know how that ends. This falls right back to research. Know about the fish you want before you buy them. Problem solved.
Fish get sick and it sucks, but it happens. There can be so many reasons why something breaks out in your tank, but you're not sure why. I mean, you could do everything right and it just still happens. The funny thing is, a lot of the things we're talking about in this video contribute to why your fish get sick, like lack of maintenance or not quarantining, faulty equipment. We just did an entire episode of 10 things on the most common diseases in fish keeping. If you want to dive deeper into this, you should definitely check this video out. It was a tough one, and I'm pretty proud of it.
I know what you're thinking. Having a lid on an aquarium is common sense, but you would be surprised how many people don't put lids on their aquariums and they end up with fish on their floor. As hard as it is for me to admit, yes, even I have made this mistake. Some fish are just more apt to jumping than others, but there's also other reasons why lids are important. Keeping the tank covered helps with evaporation, and it also helps from things falling into the tank and contaminating the water. I've heard stories of cleaning services going through people's houses and doing what they do, and later on that day, all of the fish end up dead, and it turns out that while the cleaning service was going through spraying their stuff, some of it ended up down in the tank, poisoning all the fish. I know. Well, the cleaning service should be more responsible. That's very true, but the fish are still dead, so put a lid on your tank.
How many times have you had a conversation with somebody and they said they just went to the doctors? The doctor said, your blood pressure's elevated and it's probably due to stress. I can't stress how much stress is a killer. It's a killer for us, it's a killer for fish. Poor water conditions, improper diet, lack of maintenance, aggression from other fish, these can all cause stress, among about 100 other things. A stressed out fish is more susceptible to disease. It could stop eating, it could be more aggressive to other fish. There's just so many things. Stress is just not a good thing. A happy fish is a healthy fish, so don't stress your fish out.
So there you go, that is our list of the 10 most common reasons why fish die, in our opinion anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button down below, hit the bell. I know that's the second time I've said it in this video, but hey, I want to help you out so that you don't miss next week's episode. Thank you again so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you again next week with 10 more things